Hello, grade 8. So today we're going to be finishing lesson 9-9. This is your last lesson for grade 8. How crazy is that? So we're going to do example 5. This is called solving using different methods. So there is no one correct way to solve a quadratic equation. You guys have learned lots of different methods, okay? And many quadratic equations can be solved using several different methods. So sometimes it's just a matter of what you prefer. Remember, the quadratic formula works for all quadratic equations. So right now I have with me for my final video this really cute kid. His name's Logan Smith. Logan, say hi.
Hi.
Louder, they can't hear you.
Hi.
That's Logan. He's here to learn about quadratic equations and different methods for solving quadratic equations. Woohoo! All right. So. Oh, okay. All right. So I'm on page 655, example 5, solving using different methods. Okay, so in example 5, I'm just going to walk you through this, you guys, all right, because you know how to do all of this now. So they give you an example, and they say solve x squared plus 7x plus 6 equals 0 and show your work. So this sums up everything that you learned in the last few sections, okay? So method 1 here, all right, is to solve by graphing. So when you graph it, you know that the solutions are the x-intercepts, so our solutions are -6 and -1. This is the least reliable form of solving, okay, because it's not always going to be exact, all right? But as you see here, we can solve by graphing. Method 2, we can solve by factoring, right? So +6 can break down to +6 and +1, right? When you multiply 6 times 1, you get +6. Add it together, you get +7.
Yeah.
So then we have x plus 6 times x plus 1 equals 0. We set each of these to 0, so I have x plus 6 equals 0, or x, that should say plus 1. X plus 1 equals 0. I'm going to fix that. There we go. All right, so therefore when you solve, you get x equals -6 or x equals -1. Method 3, we can solve by completing the square. So to do that, we take 6, we bring it to the other side, right? We make this x squared plus bx equals c, okay? And then you do b over 2 squared to both sides, and you add it to both sides. Binomial squared, simplify over here, okay? Square root, plus or minus square root. And when we solve this, we get x equals -1 or x equals -6. So again, all these different methods are giving us the same solution. That's what I'm trying to point out to you right now. Okay, then on page 656, it shows method 4. This is the one I use every time, you guys. Solve using the quadratic formula, okay? And again, this method works every time, but sometimes you do need to use completing the square or factoring, depending on what it is you're solving for, okay? So method 4 says use the quadratic formula. So we do that. We identify a, b, and c, okay? We set up the quadratic formula here, and we plug in and solve. And when we do that, we get x equals -1 or x equals -6, okay? So as you see, we can use several methods to solve quadratic equations. I want you to notice that all of the methods in example 5 produce the same solutions, -1 and -6. The only method you cannot use to solve x squared plus 7x plus 6 equals 0 is using square roots. Sometimes one method is better for solving certain types of equations. This table, you guys, gives some advantages and disadvantages of the different methods. So I just want you guys to look at this. And I want to walk through this with you. You must copy this down. It's really important. Okay, so the advantages for using the graphing method always works to give approximate solutions. Can quickly see the number of solutions. Disadvantage, you cannot always get an exact solution. Factoring advantages, good method to try first. Straightforward if the equation is factorable. Disadvantages, complicated if the equation is not easily factorable, and not all quadratic equations are factorable, so you can't use this method every time. The method for using square roots, it's quick when the equation has no x term, okay? The disadvantage is that it cannot easily be used when there is an x term. Completing the square. So what they mean by that, you guys, is we do have bx for a term, right? You can't use this to solve. So this would have to be like, say, 5x squared plus 10, say. All right, you could use the square root method for that. All right, so completing the square. The advantage is that this one always works. Disadvantage is that sometimes it involves difficult calculations. And then the last method is using the quadratic formula. Advantage is it always works and you can always find exact solutions. The disadvantage is that other methods may be easier or less time consuming. But guys, these last two ones here, completing the square and using the quadratic formula, work every single time. Okay, it always works. And these are the two that you're going to be using a lot in Algebra 2. Alright, so make sure you copy this down, okay? Look over example 5 again on your own and really walk through each of those methods, okay? Congratulations! We finished! Now we're just going to be doing more practice problems and review for your last test, okay? That's Logan clapping. Say bye, Logan.
Bye.
Say bye, grade 8.
Bye.
Say bye, grade 8.
Bye.
Bye, 8. Bye, guys. Have a great day.